This is my Brompton Black Edition, and this is my new Swytch Air kit. I thought I'd make a video for how we fit the switch kit to the Brompton. Okay, so this is the first time we've opened the box. And there it is. The first moment of truth, it's black. The switch wheel. Looks like it's going to match. So what else have we got in the box? That feels like the battery. Look how small that is. An instruction manual. And I imagine these boxes contain the various parts to make this work. This feels like an empty box. It is an empty box. This is more promising. Yes, all of these are the parts to make the kit. I think this is the mounting hardware for the battery. So it's probably one of the more important parts. Okay, so I'm going to go and look at the instruction manual and then we'll rejoin later. So one of the first steps is to take off the original bike wheel, so I'm going to do that now. I'm making a note of where the mud guard is connected on my Brompton as well, because that's going to have to go back on afterwards. So after the usual struggle, we've got the tyre onto the rim. I won't inflate it yet. It's interesting to note that you've got these extra torque washers attached. Let's have a look at one of these. Looks like these are going to fit on and match up with the Brompton forks. And I think they're called torque washers. They're in a separate section in the Swytch instruction manual, especially for Bromptons. So it's great that they've done that. So obviously strengthens up the fork. So this bit from the instructions took a little bit of working out because I thought I was missing parts, but you do end up with all the parts you need, but you also have lots of bits left over, which was the confusing bit that you're not going to use. So use the chart to decide which type of pedal sensor you need. And everything should then just clip together correctly. See, I've already got that wrong, I think. No, that's right. That side. And then we clamp that onto the pedal arm like so, I believe. So that clips into there and then round like so. That feels very secure even without being screwed in. So let's lightly attach this. using 2.5mm Allen key. Again, I'm only going to do this up lightly initially, so it's attached. And then I've got this ring to attach it in place as well. Don't know quite which is the best way to do this. Oh, that's on. Snapped into place. Tighten this up a little more now. Well, that looks pretty neat. Snap ring. It's not going to move. Doesn't look out of place. So here we come to our first problem. We've got the pedal sensor attached nicely. This is the actual sensor. This is the magnet ring. The instruction manual suggests attaching the sensor here on this part of the Brompton. But it also says that the distance between the sensor and the ring should be 3mm. Now, even if I put all the spacers in the box on, it's not going to bring it anywhere near 3mm. So either my Brompton is different to everybody else's, or there's some error in the instructions here, because that's too big a gap. So I think I'm going to look at somewhere else to mount the sensor. So I think a better solution on this Brompton is to mount the sensor here. Now I'm going to go and use Google in a moment to check whether anybody else has done this. But to me that seems like the logical place to put this pedal sensor on this Brompton. Otherwise we're going to have to put in so many spacers. It's just not going to be a tidy job. So here's where I propose to put it. Yeah, so I clicked Google, confirmed that the instruction manual is not correct and that this is the correct location on a Brompton for the pedal sensor. So I've just stuck it on with the self-adhesive for the time being, but I'm then going to cable tie that on more securely once we've got everything in its final positions. So now we're going to have a go at attaching the bracket to the handlebars. Now this looks like it might be quite fiddly. There's 3 different spacer sizes. I've offered them up to the handlebars, and I think the spacer size number 2 works okay with these Brompton handlebars. So we're going to have a go at this now, offering it up to, let's put the spacers on there first, I think. So bringing that underneath the handlebar. Looks good. So top half of the spacers on. Looks quite neat. Let's get a bolt in there and see how we get on. Yeah, so I have a feeling this bit might be a bit fiddly. Let's get an Allen key on it. I think once we get one in, We'll be in business. Yes, that's good. And I think that's tight enough for now, till we get all the cables connected. But again, pretty neat job, I think. Looks quite smart. So last to go onto the handlebars is the digital display. Now, I must admit, looking at this, it's a little bit of a clumsy design, a little bit disappointing compared to the rest of the kit. There's no need for a controller to be this big. So we'll put it on. We'll see if there's something better aftermarket that we can put on in the future. But to me, that messes up the aesthetics of the kit a little. So all the cables are color coded. There seem to be some here that I'm never going to need for brake sensors. So as this is a pedal assist bike, you don't need brake sensors. So I would imagine these are going to be a little fiddly to connect up, but we'll give it a go. So we're well into routing the cables now. And I've used a combination of the cable ties supplied in the kit, and I've also used black insulating tape because I felt where I was attaching it to one of the existing brake cables, for example, I thought I'd experiment with using tape instead. We'll see how that goes. But here for the main power cable, which is a thicker cable, I'm zip tying it to the front fork. And I think if you look at the actual Brompton electric, it also uses zip ties. Yes, I'm going to also make use of this eyelet that is unused on the Brompton. Seems like a sensible non-slip location to secure this main power cable. So through the eyelet, and there it is. And that makes a nice secure location then for the zip tie. So I'm going to tape the power cable to the front brake cable there, so I can follow the route of the brake cable then all the way up to the handlebars. So I've taped it with a bit of slack in the system, so as I twist the handlebars, it doesn't put any strain on the cable. So I'll follow that all the way up now, taping it to the front brake cable. Okay. So they do line up. There's a notch. And they do clip together with a nice satisfying seal. So I'm assuming these are water resistant. So I'm going to find some way of tucking all of these cables that I don't need up underneath the controller here somewhere, so they're out of the way, because we don't want those hanging down. So I think we're going to go get the battery now and give the bike a try. Which snaps into place very satisfactorily. Let's power the bike on. I assume it's a hold to power the bike on. Yep. And the bike is alive. Okay. It's dark outside, but I'm now going to give my bike a try. You'll have to wait till I film it in the daylight to see what it looks like. So, our first ride, test ride, went really well. Everything seems to work. Assistance levels are very powerful, I'd say, compared to other e-bikes I've ridden. But we have a problem. The manual suggests, the printed manual suggests putting the bracket on this side of the handlebars. But with it on this side of the handlebars, the Brompton, no longer folds correctly. Even with a modified peg supplied in the Swytch kit. So, looking online, there is a modified version of the instructions which suggests that this mount should be on the other side of the handlebars with the battery facing towards the rider. So we're going to make that change now. Okay, the clamp's now on the rider side of the handlebars. I'll put the battery in. And that's what it looks like now with the bracket on the rider side of the handlebars. So let's see if the Brompton folds again now. Great, the Brompton now folds. So I doubt you'd ever transport it with the battery on, because that's making it quite a weighty lump, doesn't support, so battery removable whilst in the fold position. So that's back with the original Brompton peg, not the one supplied with the Swytch kit.